Hi, I'm Dr. Christian Conte, and this week I am joined by my good friend, Cami Stork, who is a licensed marriage and family therapist. And we met on the show Family Therapy on VH1. And Cami and I had an instant connection because one of the things that we have in common is not only do we work with individuals, families, and couples, but we also work with people who struggle in very extreme conditions. Cami works with people who are first responders, and I specialize in working with people who are convicted of violent crimes. So each of us kind of deals with not only the people who are struggling with the everyday issues, but also very extreme issues. So first of all, Cami, welcome.
Thank you.
And let's talk about that. How does the work that we do with people struggling in extreme conditions apply to, let's say, couples?
Well, I think that folks that work in extreme conditions are a lot of times bringing the stress of the job home. They may be in careers and things that they love, so our police, fire, things like that. But, our local firemen here in Sacramento, California, a lot of them work 48-hour shifts, so they might come home having only 6 or 8 hours sleep, or have a night of bad calls. And so it's not really like, hey, let's go grab brunch and hang out and talk about my work night. It's really not conducive to date conversation a lot of times. And so it's really, how do we balance that need to connect in our relationships and also kind of that stress that we bring home from those really kind of chaotic job situations.
Right. And I think one of the fascinating things about human behavior is this: no matter what role we're in life, we all have extreme feelings and emotions at times. Right. And we all come home and we bring to our partners these extreme conditions, sometimes lack of sleep, hunger, whatever it is. And so I think not only does the work we do with the people in extreme conditions apply to them, but it also applies to the everyday person who comes home and listen, at the end of the day, may not want to talk about their day at work. So the challenge is, how do couples connect? And let's start off by saying this. I've been married here in November. It'll be 17 years, and you've been married for a long time. Talk a little bit about that.
Yes. My husband and I are actually celebrating our 9th wedding anniversary here in September, but we've been together for 15 years. And so there's definitely a lot of ups and downs. My spouse is a fireman. He's been in the fire service for 20 years or so now. So he's definitely been around it for a while, and, does bring home some of that stress. And so really maintaining, again, like you're saying, that kind of that connection and working together well, and intentional connection, really. How do we put the effort into maintaining the relationship?
So the phrase you use right there is such a powerful phrase, the intentional connection. And I think a lot of times couples believe that once they've been together long enough, they should just be able to just coast through life together.
Right.
But as you know, as we've talked about before, to be in a long-term, committed, successful relationship, it takes work, it takes effort, it takes wanting to show up every day for your loved one. And, we've talked about that before. You've talked about the effort that you put into your relationship. So aside from being a clinician and dealing with people and helping them do that, you kind of practice what you preach and live that in your own relationship.
Absolutely. I think, you said should. I always joke with my clients. I always say you shouldn't should on yourselves, because once you've done that, it's all bad for everybody. The reality is that whenever we're saying should, we're saying that the other person is aware of what our wants, needs, and desires are, so they should know. And on our end, we're saying it should be this way, so we have our own wants, needs, desires, and expectations that we may not have communicated clearly. So living that in my own relationship is really, how do we plan time together to really reconnect on different levels? I know you and your wife are really big on, connecting not only from a physical standpoint, being attracted to each other, but a spiritual standpoint and a mental standpoint. So whether you share a new book, I know our favorite date days that we've had recently, the last couple of years, we love to go to TED Talks together. I know you've done a TED Talk.
Right.
Those are great date days because it's something that's out of your norm. It's going to bring up a topic, a new conversation. It's something that you can do together, but really enjoying just that time and that intention. Like, I've set this time aside to spend with just you and focus on just us is really key to maintaining the connection.
It's huge. You talk about a date day and a TED Talk. My TED Talk was done actually in a prison, and I brought my wife along with me, and it was quite an experience for her, I'll say that. But it was very powerful. But you're right. It's about putting that effort forth in your relationship. So many people get to a spot in the relationship where they, as you talk about the shoulds, I do that as well. But one of the terms that I've talked about in my books and things are, I believe that there's a difference between what I call the cartoon world, which is the world that's filled with the shoulds. You should know what I want. You
Yes.
should know what I'm expecting from you. And then the real world, which is the way it is, whether, you have your own ideas of experiences of me. And as long as people align their expectations with the cartoon world, they're let down. Oh, I thought you were going to say this when I said that. But when they learn to align their expectations with reality, now they can meet their loved ones where they actually are. And they can really create the reality of life, which is really, I think, a lot more beautiful than this cartoon world anyway.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree. I mean, with the media and things the way that we have it nowadays, there's all these comparisons to what the perfect relationship looks like and what we should be doing. And really, it's not about a comparison. It's about what's the best life for you and what's the best life for, us as our family and our relationship, and really setting those things as a moment for each other and not really that comparison. But that also requires dialogue. That requires conversation between all of us to ensure that we are, again, meeting those needs. And sometimes those are difficult questions like, hey, do you think maybe we can get together? I really want to talk about this that's going on. And sometimes we open up a difficult conversation. And that's where I think that, something like this adventure retreat that we have planned is so awesome, because it really is about a positive experience. It's about an experience of new things, new ideas, new adventures, but learning some new skills of communication in just kind of a different way. And, you're in the outdoors. It's a little bit different.
Oh, I mean, you and I decided to set out to do retreats together because we both kind of have that view that life is an adventure. You don't want to watch a movie where someone sits and stares at a wall all day long. That is just not fun.
Right.
But you want to see an adventure. You want to see action. You want to see, the romance. You want to see the laughter. You want to see the tears. And all of that human emotion comes with life being an adventure. And one of the things I really believe with all of me is that when we view life as an adventure, when we're hit with struggles, when we're hit with obstacles in life, when we see it as an adventure, then we're willing to approach those obstacles in a different way. When we look at it like, oh, I can't believe it's happening to me, or this is terrible, or this shouldn't have happened,
right.
Then we struggle. So when you and I first started dialoguing about doing retreats together, we said, how can we make our retreats incorporate adventure? And I loved some of the things that you came up with and that we've shared to do, which is, to put couples through the test and say, hey, if I'm going to communicate well when everything's fine in a room and it's calm, how am I going to communicate when I'm out there on a ropes course?
Right. Absolutely. And my husband and I have done this ropes course before. So I like it because it's an even playing field. My husband's extremely athletic. Pretty much any sport that he touches, he always beats me on, with the exception of paddleboarding. I won a $20 bet on that one. That's the only sport I've ever beat him on right off the bat. And so I came across this ropes course and I said, this would be great for my couples. This is awesome because you really have to work together and communicate. I know you and I have some special activities and things planned, but what better way to get your point across than when you are responsible for your spouse falling or staying up. And so it's a great kind of equalizer when we're doing activities and communication to figure out, okay, how do we work through this and get through this together? And what I also love is that in a couples retreat setting, couples are there doing the same thing that you're doing. They're there to connect in their relationships in the same way. So it's really about building this village of positive people and positive couples that are all around you that have been through this same shared experience in a great way. So you have not only your relationship that's there, but you have these other couples that are around you that are in the same space working on the same positive attributes. So.
Well, you're so right. And I know that space for our couples retreats is limited, and if people can join us, that's awesome. But if you can't join us, I think one of the things that we would both love for people to hear is when you start to view your relationship as an adventure and something that you're going into it with your partner side by side as equals, it will really shift the way you see each other, and it'll help you put the work into the relationship. Because no relationship that's long lasting got there because people just coasted through. Any good long-term healthy relationship takes work, takes effort. And I really believe that's a wonderful, positive thing. It's not like, oh, I have to work at this. Like, of course, yes, it's life. We definitely want to put our best effort into it. So if people can join us for our couples retreats, that's cool, because definitely we love what we do. And we bring you the adventure. We put it all right there for you. And we teach you hands-on practical skills. But if you can't join us for those weekends and those retreats that we put on, then at least invite your partner with you side by side to look at life as an adventure, and you will be amazed at what you see.
Yes, it's very true. One of the things that I really work to teach couples is that if you imagine whatever the problem life is throwing you is it's kind of in the center. If you guys are on opposite sides of the problem and you're firing at the problem, you're probably going to hit each other at some point, versus how do we get you both on the same side firing at the problem together? So really, my partner is my teammate. They're on my side. And if you can always view your partner as being on your side, whatever the adventure of life is that throws at you, you're able to tackle that together. It's better with two than it is with one.
I love that. I love your philosophy. That's why I choose, of anybody I can work with, to team up with Cami Stork. She is awesome. Cami, thank you so much for joining me. And for more information about our retreats, you can visit either drchristianconte.com or Cami's website at
soullegacytherapy.com.
And together, we both wish you much peace.
Take care.